All right, what's up, everybody? Thanks for clicking this video. Thanks for tuning into my channel. My name is Simon Hill, Black American from Louisiana, coming to you live from Budapest, Hungary. Today, we're going to be doing our hour-long live stream like we always do. Let me just make sure everything is good here. Yeah, we're okay. We're all set. And yeah, I'm just going to be on live for an hour, reading a few stories, reacting to the comments, talking to the people, taking questions and answers, anything like that. So y'all pile into the chat or watch this in the playback and jump into the comments. Now, first thing I want to do, I'm just going to talk about a few things I saw on Twitter that I thought were funny. I refuse to call it X, at least right now. But yeah, so I just wanted to talk about this video about another crazy thing the blonde bimbo said. So I'm just going to play this and I'm going to ask y'all, what do y'all think?
I'd say, Mr. Congress, oh, look who we have. Byron said that place. Superstar of the future. He's already a superstar, but he's a superstar of the future. Byron Donalds, Florida. Wow, that's nice to have you here. That's good. He's great. He's great. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. That one is smart. You have smart ones and you have some that aren't quite so good. But we have a group of people that are really great. But I'd say...
Wow. Hey, that lady in the back knew exactly what Trump did. Hold on, wait.
Really great, but
Look at the way she winces. Look at her face. Yo, Trump is crazy. If y'all didn't hear the quote, basically, Byron Donalds, who is this major Republican figure, I believe a congressman from Florida in the House of Representatives, right? Byron Donalds is like token black Negro for the Republican Party round. And Byron Donalds, black man, this is him right here. He shows up to a Trump rally. And Trump obviously is Byron Donalds in this very mayonnaise crowd and says, oh, look, Byron Donalds, Byron, stand up. Look at Byron. See, that's a smart one. See, you have ones that are smart, and then you have ones that aren't so smart. What do you think he's trying to say? What do you think he's trying to say? That's just hilarious. It's hilarious because it's so blatantly racist. It's so blatantly racist. So yeah, I posted in the Twitter thread, Black MAGA love being one of the good ones. Ain't that a fact? I need Black MAGA to come in here and let me know how y'all would feel. You're in a sea full of white folks at your local chapter of the Young Republicans or whatever. You're the only black face in the place. And then the leader of the group comes up and says, hey, look at you. You're one of the good ones. You have ones that are smart and you have ones that aren't so smart. What is that, man? What is that? I just find this hilarious, how people can continue to make excuses and follow this man. It's so blatantly anti-black, or even think it's a possibility that we should even entertain the idea of voting for him or having him back in the Oval Office. Anyway, that was really bad. Another thing I wanted to talk about was this story right here. So, our guy Meek Mill, he used to pray for times like this to rhyme like this. Our guy Meek Mill was walking through the forest and he met a male Karen. Karen says, you can't walk here, buddy. You can't make this up. You got to see this. Hold on.
All right, I'll try next time I come through, not come through.
Well, I'd say go back because you're not supposed to be here.
I'm already deep in. Where could I go back to?
Just turn around. That's no way you can go up there.
How you figure that? I did that before.
Hey, you're not supposed to be here.
But I came this way 30 minutes. I might as well come this way to go out. How you telling me where
This
the
way to the road is back that way.
Just go ahead, man. I'm minding my business. You should mind yours too.
No,
I'm on my way.
actually, you're breaking the law.
I'm not breaking. All right. I'll try
All right,
next
so-
time I come through, not.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. What did Hov say? What did Hov say? Let's open up the book of Hov. Rich nigga, still nigga. You get what I'm saying? So it's crazy that Meek Mill going through a jump in the forest, trying to clear his head, trying to wonder where his career went. You know, jogging in the forest like Hillary Clinton after she lost the election, meets a male Karen. I'm surprised you don't recognize who Meek Mill is. Now, before I started this live stream, my wife didn't even know who Meek Mill is. Guys, welcome to the white wife world. So that's just a part of living. But it's still funny. How could you not know Meek Mill? Like, you get what I'm saying? Either way, why are you bothering this man in the forest? He is wandering, doing just like you, going for a hike, fresh air, clean air, all that sort of stuff, and you want to tell him, nah, you can't walk back here. Man, these are the type of crackers I grew up with in Louisiana, and God, I bet Meek Mill is living down in somewhere like in Georgia or something, or you know what I mean, like in Atlanta or something. That's just crazy. That's absolutely crazy that that man felt like he could just say that to Meek Mill like that. And that's even crazier that Trump said, telling Byron Donalds, you're one of the good ones, is actually a compliment. Trump knows what he's doing. He knows what he is doing. Anyway, here, I'm gonna jump ahead now to some of the stories that I wanted to read. Okay. And we got votes. Well, okay, I'm glad actually that my audience is actually no longer so right-wing, so racist. But somebody voted one time and said, no, that's wild. So I'm glad to see that. Anyway, let's go here to this story. So, at 2 elite colleges, shifts your makeup after affirmative action ban. Amherst College and Tufts University saw drops in the number of black students after a Supreme Court decision ending affirmative action at other schools. The picture is murkier. So, this should be a warning call, you know, to anybody out here who says, oh, you know, MAGA can't hurt us, Republicans can't hurt us. Those 3 Supreme Court justices Trump picked really did make a difference, right? So let's read this story here. This was published on August 30th, 2024, written by Anamon Hartikolis and Stephanie Saul, right? So a drop in the share of black first-year students at 2 elite colleges this year has provided an early sign that the Supreme Court's decision to end affirmative action could have an impact on racial diversity at least some of the nation's most select schools. At Amherst College, a small liberal arts college in Massachusetts, the share of black students decreased sharply by 8 percentage points for this year's entering class, according to data released on Thursday. Now, I know a lot of people, they say, you know, college isn't important, university isn't important. So if that's we as black people shouldn't be worried about whether we can go to college or not. We should not be worried about whether there are lower admission rates for black students into undergraduate schools. You get what I'm saying? I'm about to go to university in a few weeks. You know, I've just registered classes, got to go do, you know, some other paperwork and stuff, but I'm looking forward to being a black man in college again. But I'm so sad that in America, the number of young black like me who will be able to go to school is decreasing more and more. Continuing here. So, it's decreased more moderately at Tufts University, a larger private college near Boston, according to that school's data. At the University of Virginia, which released its data on Friday, the percentage of black students also dipped, but only slightly. The new evidence comes after the Massachusetts Institute of Technology announced a sharp drop in black enrollment by 10 percentage points last week. Amherst data showed that the percentage of white students enrolling rose sharply, while the percentage of Asian American students rose slightly. Our new overlords are the Asians. In a few years, all of our bosses will be Vietnamese, Cambodian, Japanese, and this is the facts. This is the facts. This is the facts. Okay, the data attributed to an emerging, if still murky, picture about how last year's Supreme Court decision barring race-conscious admissions at colleges and universities across the country could change higher education. Many of the highly selective universities that used affirmative action have yet to release numbers for the incoming class. But the ruling has upended more than 4 decades of admission practices, and supporters of affirmative action have warned it would have an immediate negative impact on diversity with ripple effects throughout society. The new numbers reflect enrollment rather than admissions because the Supreme Court prohibited admissions office from looking at the race of applicants unless it came up organically as a part of a college essay, for instance. This week, Amherst admissions dean Matthew L. Mann was frank in addressing the effects of the court's ruling in online missives to the class of 2028 and the broader Amherst community. As a consequence of the Supreme Court's decision, the incoming class is not as racially diverse as recent classes have been, he said. Other institutions have seen a similar impact, and all colleges and universities are evaluating the outcomes of this first admission cycle under the new legal standard. So, Jeff Lang says, where's all the Trump-worshipping simps at? I'm wondering the same thing, too. Where they at? Where they at? Where are all the Trump dick suckers? Where are all the Trump dick suckers, right? They usually be up in here. I guess they've been winning so much, you know, MAGAs so much. They were able to, you know, make it harder for women to get abortions, make it harder for black people to go to college. They've been winning so much, they've retired. They don't have to be all up in the comment section trolling and you know, talking big shit. I wonder where they at. You get what I'm saying? Thank you, Jeff Lang. I'm wondering the same thing. Where's MAGA at? Anyway, continuing here. The percentage of black students entering Amherst this fall dropped to 3% from 11 percentage points last year, and at Tufts, it dropped to 4.7% from 7.3%. Black students at the University of Virginia declined 7% of the entering class compared to 7.9% last year, while students entering Amherst rose to 39% of the class from 33%. Those entering Tufts went up to 49.3%, and 46.8%. The percentage of Asian American students rose slightly to 20% from 18% at Amherst and slipped to 19.7% from 20.3% at Tufts. So a part of me feels like the reason why the Asian Americans were a part of the push to get the end of affirmative action was simply because they wanted to have, more opportunities for them to be overrepresented in schools and stuff like that. I do think anybody who works hard, studies hard, they should be able to have educational opportunities, right? But we come from a society that has not meritocratic. You get what I'm saying? Like, we did not, happen to select, the Asians from Asian countries who are coming from poorer backgrounds, right? Most of the immigrants that come into America from Asia, faraway places like that, these are people who would have been middle class, upper middle class in their home country, right? So these people are coming with an automatic advantage, generational advantage at that, right? Because Asian Americans, Indian Americans in general have a lot of income in America, right? A lot of career mobility, right? Upward mobility in their careers. So they're gonna have that same opportunity as well. So it seems like, whether it be Asian or white, hell, even black, right? The legacy of people who have had access to education and wealth and all that sort of stuff seems to be continuous, right? Seems to be continuing to pass on. All right. Tyler Durden says, "Where are you?" I'm in Budapest, Hungary. I literally say it in every single video. But if you're tuning in for the first time, shout out to you wherever you are. All right. Christo says, "I'm for Trump, but man, I wish you peace and a lack of victimhood. Much success. God bless." I have to ask you, where's the victimhood? We're not talking about victimhood here. This is the thing. MAGA people only know 3 or 4 talking points. They think that black people are intelligent because Trump said it himself. There are smart ones and then there are not so smart ones, right? Apparently, most black people are not smart in Trump's eyes through his own words. Secondly, I like to talk about while the place where there are the most mass shootings and gun violence in America is deep red Confederate South, like where I come from, in Louisiana, Mississippi, Texas, Arkansas, South Carolina, Florida have the most amount of gun violence. But stupid, MAGA, white Republican conservatives keep on talking about Chicago. So those are the first 2 talking points. Those are the first 2 talking points. So they're about Chicago, they think that black people aren't intelligent. And the third thing they say is victimhood. We are not talking about victimhood. We're talking about actual policies that stupid MAGA Republicans have done, which is, for example, making it so girls can get fucked by their fathers and forced to have babies. So, Crystal, I want to ask you, I hope your daughter becomes a victim of you. I hope you get turned up so much, one night that you sleep with your own daughter, put some nut up in her, and then she gets pregnant. And then under this Trump administration that we'll continue to have to live with because you guys put 3 guys on the Supreme Court who said women cannot have access to abortions. I hope you fuck your own daughter. I hope brother fucks your mother. I hope you have a whole incestuous white Confederate West Virginian family all up in your blood pool, right? Because we're not talking about victimhood. You guys are victimizers. MAGA, Republicans, white supremacists in America are victimizers. And all we have to do is talk about your bullshit and continue to call you out on bullshit. So get the fuck off my live stream and go put your dick in your cousin. You feel me? I just have to get that out there. All right? Anyway, continuing here. The percentage of Hispanic students dropped to 8% from 12% at Hearst. And there was a similar decline at MIT, but confounding the picture, the number of Hispanic students actually rose slightly at Tufts and the University of Virginia, and at UVA. The percentage of white and Asian students declined very slightly. One expert in admissions data, Richard Sander, a law professor at the University of California, Los Angeles, said the effect of the court decision on Hispanic students could be expected to be less than on black students. He said admissions offices historically given less of a preference to Hispanic students and noted that the Hispanic college-age population has grown rapidly relative to white students. All right, Christo said, "You'll rot in hell for saying those things." I'll rot I will not go to hell. I'm going to heaven. All of you MAGA dick suckers are going to hell because all of you secretly want to fuck your own daughters, Christo. Christo, just admit it. You have a lust for your own children. You secretly want to get them pregnant, which is why all of you MAGA crazy conservative fucks are so obsessed with women's bodies and girl cock. Just admit it. You're obsessed with trans people, which is why you want to follow them around and police them wherever they piss, which is why you cannot stop looking at tranny porn. So, Christo, you're obsessed with tranny porn. You have a sexual fetish for your own daughter, like your guy Trump, who continually talks about how much he wants to sleep with his own daughter. So, Christo, you're going to hell. I'm going to continue speaking the truth. Am I mad? No. I am disappointed that they're sick, pedophilic, incestuous, white, MAGA, conservative fucks running the country, and you guys continue to populate my live stream feed. I'm so disappointed in you. I am so disappointed in you, Christo, and all people like you. Chris, I hope your daughter gets killed after you fuck her. I hope she dies too, Christo. I hope she jumps off a cliff with the nut that you put up in her falling off the bridge that you push her off her. All right? All right. Randy Roth says, oh my, yes. Randy Roth, this is the realest, trillest live stream on the planet. On the planet. We have no sympathy for MAGA conservatives here, right fascists, nothing like that. Anything that they want to say, we're going to throw it back in their face. Chris, a Trump guy who continues to talk about black victimhood, but has nothing to say about how their people continue to victimize people in America. All right, let's continue here. So MIT's data showed a drop in the percentage of black students to 5% of incoming students from 15%, and a sharp rise in Asian American students to 47% from 40%. Critics of affirmative action have argued that drop in racial diversity will be temporary as universities look for ways to achieve diversity that correlate with race, such as socioeconomic status. At UA, a public institution in Charlottesville, the state had created partnerships with public schools and low-income communities statewide as a part of a recruitment effort. Justin Driver, a professor at Yale Law School and an expert on the Supreme Court's rulings on education, called the Virginia program a potential model. It is a fine example of how universities can be creative, consistent with the Constitution, to avoid the plummeting enrollment of black students that some universities have already witnessed, he said. Still, he noted that many college admissions offices are struggling with how to respond without running afoul of the court's rulings. In the absence of innovation, Mr. Driver said, we stand on the cusp of what I fear become a lost generation of black students at many leading colleges. Another selective college, Emory University in Georgia, reported only slight changes in the racial makeup of this year's freshman class. The percentage of black and Hispanic students entering this fall slightly, but so did the percentage of white students. The percentage of students who are Asian, whose race was not known, increased. The new numbers were particularly striking at Amherst because it is known for its outreach to black students. The Journal of Blacks in Higher Education reported in 2022 that Amherst had topped its list of high-ranked liberal arts colleges, enrolling the highest percentage of black first-year students for 13 out of 28 years. Amherst and fellow liberal arts colleges warned of dire consequences from the Supreme Court ruling in a court brief filed last year. In the brief, the school said a race-blind admissions policy would reduce the percentage of black, Hispanic, and Native American students by approximately half. Amherst President Michael A. Elliott said the school remains committed to diversity and that it would learn new strategies to recruit a diverse student body. He also said that he is concerned about how the school's current student body will adjust. On a small campus, the drop in demographic population can change the experience of those students, he said in an interview Friday. One of the unfortunate circumstances of the ruling is that it might diminish the sense of belonging that a student feels here, and we do not want that to occur. Tufts Dean of Admissions, Joseph Duck, who goes by JT, said the difference in the numbers year to year at Tufts was partly due to a doubling in the percentage of applicants who did not report their race or ethnicity. He cautioned against parsing the data too closely. There are different ways to present the data, as we are seeing as colleges and universities begin to report their results, he said. As for why certain groups went up or down, we're continuing to examine the data, he said. The data for most colleges is collected from self-reported information on student applications. After the Supreme Court decision, racial information was generally hidden from application committees until the wait list was closed, the final step in the process. The racial breakdown shared by schools also included Native American students, Pacific Island, and Native Hawaiian students, those who marked 2 or more races, and those who didn't share their race, categories that typically make up smaller shares of the incoming classes. Data for 2 institutions, Harvard and the University of North Carolina, have yet to be released. Their admissions practices were the subject of lawsuits by for Fair Admissions, an anti-affirmative action group which led to the Supreme Court's ruling in June of last year. The racial makeup of their freshman classes may offer a significant indicator of the impact of the affirmative action ban. The suit against Harvard focused on Asian American students, arguing that the university had penalized them by holding them to a higher standard in an effort at racial balancing. The numbers so far may present a skewed picture because they come from highly selective schools, according to Mr. Sander, who has studied the impact of affirmative action bans. Mr. Sander predicted that the most elite institutions are likely to feel the impact of the affirmative action ban more than schools that are less selective. He predicted schools that provided a solid education but relied less or not at all on affirmative action would see an increase in Black enrollment. The students not admitted to MIT or Amherst or higher education are well qualified to be admitted without a preference to other very solid schools, Mr. Sander said. Whatever someone thought of the Supreme Court's decision, Mr. Sander added, it is part of what he called a natural experiment on the end of race-conscious admissions with important implications for policymakers. All right, Av Cree is here. Oh God, Av Cree is here. Thumbs down. Av Cree is here. Thumbs down. Thumbs down to A. But either way, I could just imagine this. You know, schools like MIT and all these other elite colleges, you know, they might not use affirmative action. They might see fewer and fewer Black students being admitted and stuff like that. But I can imagine some of the smaller schools, like they said in the article, will be accepting more Black students. I think this might cause like the resurgence. This might cause resurgence of like, well, how can I say this? HBCUs. Not that nobody's been going to HBCUs, but a lot of HBCUs have been closing. You get what I'm saying? We're gonna, I think that might be happening. Right? Unbranded said he looks like the Black Mr. Clean. Yes, Black Mr. Clean be all up in your mama's pussy. That's why this head is so smooth and so shiny. She just be sliding and gliding all up over it. You get what I'm saying? All right, Christo said, I'm super evil, super uncalled for, and will come back and get me. That's what he says. But you know who's not evil? Apparently this guy who wants to make hell on earth for Africans, make things more expensive, make things more hateful, more divisive, cause our mothers, our sisters, our aunties, our cousins have no control over their bodies. You get what I'm saying? Ab says, why are you so sweaty? You can't afford air conditioner. No, I can't afford air conditioner. I say all the time, I'm part of the working poor. I am a poor man. And in Europe, most places do not have air conditioning. You would know that as well, Av Cree. Being in India, I'm sure you wallow around in cow shit just to get cool times. I know, Av Cree, you take a nice, healthy shit in the streets, find a big pile of cow dung, and then rub it all over your body, too. You get what I'm saying? So, yeah. That's what we're gonna do. All right, continuing here. Who are the biggest donors to Trump and Harris? Who's giving the money? All right, so in presidential politics, campaigns are powered by billionaires. Here is a look at the most influential givers. Continuing here. So Theodore Schleifer wrote this article. We're going to be reading here from the NYT. Let's go. So in presidential fundraising these days, the donors who matter most are the very small and the very, very big. The very small are the lifeblood of campaigns, cultivated via email after email and funded for recurring donations. But the very, very big can make contributions that eclipse 1 million small dollar donations. The campaigns of Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald J. Trump, when combined with with their super PACs have raised $1.3 billion. And that's not counting money raised by dark money organizations and that are active in the presidential race and don't disclose their donors. The final 2 months of the election typically see donors write some of the biggest checks of the campaign season. So we're just getting started. Here's a look at the billionaires that are powering pants. Now, all right. Avcree says, you're poor because all day you're just yapping instead of working. No, I'm poor because I work as an English teacher. And I'm also a writer for Culturalist Theory. So y'all go check out all the videos I penned for Culturalist Theory. And I'm not so poor that we can't afford food. My wife is making dinner right now. I'm obviously using the Wi-Fi I pay for and got electricity, got lights. You know, got heat for the winter. Winters are what's important in Europe, Avcree. I know you haven't left India before. I know you're still stuck in hot-ass India rubbing cow shit over your body to stay cool during the summers where it reach a blistering 45 degrees. I know that's where you're at. But, you know, I get by. I get by teaching English, going back to school, paying for my own tuition. So, hey, I'm okay with being poor. There's nothing wrong with being poor. And all my idols were poor. Malcolm X was poor. Martin Luther King was poor. Jesus Christ was poor. The Prophet Muhammad was poor. So I'm not comparing myself to those men, but I do not find anything to be ashamed of in poverty. Because Avcree, where you're from, in India, 80% of the people live in abject poverty where they have to shit in the streets. Avcree, you live in a country where they are poor, they do not have running toilets. Greg Mack says, what else are you doing with the weight? I'm doing all right. Hitting the gym. Just left the gym earlier today. Just chilling, cooling, and minding my own business. Just talking my ish. You feel me? Shout out to Craig Mack. Shout out to everybody out there. All right. So I want everybody to pay attention to the poll. I want everybody to notice how racist MAGA is. They think it's okay to tell a black person that, yeah, it's okay to call a black person the smart one, as if other black people aren't intelligent or smart. It's absolutely insane. All right. Nelson Moreno says, I'm poor because I'm fixing Av's mom's roof and she doesn't pay, but I'm paying her a visit soon. Hey, let's keep it talking. All right, Avcree, you are not from Africa. You're a musty Indian in Africa. Avcree, you are a musty street shitting Indian in Africa. You get me? So Christo says, you just said Jesus is an idol of yours, yet you wished evil upon my family. All right, Christo, I want you to remember, I know you MAGA conservatives don't read the Bible. What did Jesus do? What did Jesus do when a man was possessed by the devil? He did an exorcism on him and put the demons in the pigs. And then he made the pigs run over the cliff and they all died. Does anybody else remember that story in the Bible? Does anybody else remember the story in the Bible when the man was possessed by demons? Jesus did an exorcism. The demons went into the pigs, and then they went and jumped over the cliff. Did anybody else hear that? So that's what I'm saying, Krista. What I'm saying to you is I hope we exorcise the demons from this world. They go into your body or the bodies of your family members, Christo, and then all of y'all jump over it. That's what I'm trying to say. So yes, I am walking in the footsteps of Jesus Christ. I'm trying to exorcise the demons for the world. Yes. All right. Avcree, you are not from Africa. I want everybody to notice, Avcree is not from Africa. All right, Mooney is just Trump, but that's funny as hell. He says Jesus was wearing the MAGA hat when he entered Nazareth. Yeah, sure. That's funny as hell. All right, damn, Nelson Moreno says the pigs mutated into white people and South Asians. Ain't that the facts? Ain't that the truth? Ain't that crazy? All right, Greg Matt says, I don't Kamala to win, however, Trump will be better for the country. Man. Okay. Anyway, I'm continuing here. Let's talk about who's giving money to Trump, because Trump is a broke boy. So who's giving money to Donald Trump? So, Mr. Trump has not added many new mega donors to his fold since his 2020 campaign. He himself has not traveled to make fundraising events across the country, a point of frustration for some of his fundraisers who sometimes have to travel to Mr. Trump's own properties to get access to the candidate. Additional Republican donors who are uncomfortable with Mr. Trump are focusing their energies on down-ballot campaigns. But Mr. Trump has, since 2016, transformed the Republican contributors developing a network of peculiar big donor loyals to him, the first being Tim Mellon. There is no donor who has publicly spent for Mr. Trump this cycle than Timothy Mellon, heir to the Mellon banking fortune. He has put more than $125 million into Mr. Trump's campaign, and it's only December. Mr. Mellon, a reclusive businessman, burst into the political donor scene seemingly out of nowhere, and while he has almost no relationship with Mr. Trump, he has financed much of MAGA Inc., a super PAC, providing almost half of the total money it raised this cycle. Mr. Mellon is also a friend of Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s and put $20 million into a pro-Kennedy super PAC, becoming this cycle's largest disclosed donor. So I have to ask everybody here, can a politician who has big money donors be trusted? I gotta repeat. Can a politician with big money donors be trusted? I gotta ask y'all this. What do y'all think? Can we trust somebody who takes millions, billions of dollars from very rich people who run the banks, who run the oil companies, who run car companies and manufacturers and stuff like that, telecommunication companies? Can they be trusted? I have to ask you this. I have to ask y'all this. Anyway, let's go here. Let's go here to the next person who's donating millions of dollars. Elon Musk. The rise of Elon Musk as a political donor has been one of the most extraordinary stories of the 2024 campaign. Mr. Musk, the owner of the social media platform X and chief executive of Tesla, had never displayed much interest in politics, and his own proclivities were liberal. But this spring, he decided to start a super PAC that had grand ambitions to spend as much as $180 million on transforming the Republican Party's field organizing program. It had a rocky start, but there's time. And Mr. Musk has brought in new leadership, including a new personal aide to help him make political decisions. Mr. Musk, at the very least, is someone whom Mr. Trump talks to and listens to. He took Mr. Musk's advice to choose J.D. Vance as his running mate, and Mr. Musk appears to have led Mr. Trump to soften his hostility towards electric vehicles. I don't think anybody is surprised. Nelson Moreno says, if the donor is white, contribution should be light. Y'all are crazy. Ozzy says, no, but it's become normalized, so nobody bats an eye. Yeah, that's the problem. We think it's normal to have billionaires, basically fund these people, right? Put money in their backs, right? Here's Linda McMahon. This woman you see right here, sitting next to Trump, is Trump's sugar mama. This is Trump's sugar mama. Her name is Linda McMahon. Linda McMahon, a major Trump donor, was named the head of the Small Business Administration when Mr. Trump was president. Here, let's go here. Miriam Anderson. Miriam Anderson, a fervent supporter of Israel, decided earlier this year to break with the rest of Trump world and own super PAC. She is planning to put more than $100 million into the group. Ms. Adelson took some criticism from Mr. Trump just a few days after meeting with him at the Republican National Convention in July, drawing his ire because she is working with more traditional establishment Republican operatives. But Mr. Trump then showered her with praise at a recent event focused on anti-Semitism, at which Ms. Adelson spoke. This is why we'll always have war in the Middle East. This is why we'll always have genocide of Palestinians, right? Until they're completely wiped out of the land of Israel, right? Because people basically are just buying influence. All right? All right. Ozzy says, damn, this is the person pulling the strings. You're damn right. Are we surprised, though? Christo gave me the most white threat of all time. He said, you will get yours, Bubba. What type of white? I'm so scared in the trailer park. Quick, somebody get the musket. Christo said he's going to get me, Bubba. What the fuck am I supposed to do with that? Anyway, continue. Who else is donating to daddy? Who else is giving Trump money? Who else is giving Trump money? Who are his sugar daddies? All right. Dick and Ulheim. So Dick and Liz Orheim, the founders of the shipping company Uline, are staunch conservatives and have long been significant donors to the anti-tax organization Club for Growth. So they were drawn to Governor Ron DeSantis' presidential campaign during the Republican primary. But they are team players and they have returned to the Trump fold. Like Miss Adelson, the pair met with Mr. Trump at the Republican National Convention, according to a person briefed on their meeting. Linda McMahon is a longtime friend of Mr. Trump's as well as a major donor. Mr. Trump named her as head of Small Business Administration when he was president and granted her a speaking slot at the Republican National Convention. On another night, she joined Mr. Trump in his box at the convention. Power comes not just from her money, but from her role. She joins another major Trump donor, Howard Lutnick, chief executive of Cantor Fitzgerald, as one of the co-chairs of the Trump transition effort. All right? So, continuing here. Who's giving money to Kamala? Who's giving money to Kamala and Walz? We're being fair here. I don't want anybody walking away from here that this is some Democrat-run channel. We understand that the entire U.S. government is a white supremacist, neoliberal, capitalistic, anti-human enterprise. We understand that, right? Democrats, Republicans, two wings of the same vulture, right? We understand that. But come on, man. What are we going to do about money in politics? How much longer are we going to see billionaires basically run the show? You know, in other countries, they have like an open pool of money that politicians pull from to fund their campaigns. So they can't be bought out by special interests. Other countries can do this. I think we could do this too. We literally print the US dollar. We could do that. All right. Av Cree said Trump kept all the peace. Yes, he kept all the pieces of biryani. For Av Cree, for you invited Trump to your house to have a big curry chutney dinner. And Trump took all your biryani. And you being the MAGA cuck, you sat there and said, "Thank you, Mr. Trump. Come again. Thank you, Trump. Come in." That's what you said, Av Cree. Trump kept all the piece of biryani off your plate. And then he grabbed your mama by her Punjabi pussy. That's what you mean by kept all the piece. The pieces of biryani. Anyway, Nelson Moreno says Christo is going to get his sister's dog. Ain't that a fact? All right. Harris's most important donors. There has been significant consolidation in the world of Democratic mega donors since 2020, as there are a few new big players like Sam Bankman-Fried, who stormed into Democratic politics in 2022 and was convicted of fraud and related crimes in 2023. But President Biden's decision to drop out of the race and the Democrats' quick endorsement of Mrs. Harris has energized some female donors, people who were not particularly active in the Biden campaign, but may be in a Harris campaign. Here are some people who matter most. So who are the people who are Kamala's sugar daddies? Here, Reid Hoffman, the co-founder of LinkedIn, has transformed himself into a relentless political creature since Mr. Trump's election in 2016. At one point, tell their donors during the 2020 campaign that he would step out of a board meeting if American politics demanded it. In addition to being one of the country's top Democratic donors, Mr. Hoffman has also emerged as a confidant to other wealthy Democrats in Silicon Valley looking to make political donations. So, of course, the Soros people, here come the conspiracies. Here come the conspiracies. George Soros has long been making donations to support Democrats. What's new is that there is a different Mr. Soros also engaged in giving. Alex, Mr. Soros' son. Alex Soros is equally, if not more, interested in American politics than his father is. Alex Soros is engaged to Huma Abedin, the longtime advisor to former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. That's so crazy. That's so crazy that Huma Abedin seems to be involved in almost every plot point. She's like the Forrest Gump of American politics. You know what I'm saying? Avery Adams says the real MAGA has entered the chat. Ozzy says, what up? Ave Crease, who's that in the background? That's my big booty wife, guys. I'm fortunate enough to have a big, beautiful, juicy booty wife. Acting, can you twerk for the people? No. She ain't gonna twerk for the people, but she's cooking dinner. But I want you incels, you MAGA conservative nuts who jump into my chat and say all sorts of hateful, bigoted, mean things about black people. Y'all can never get big booty Turkish girls to twerk for you. You could never have that happen. Anyway, Huma Abedin. used to be the wife of Anthony Weiner. Anthony Weiner, who was the guy who took pictures of his wiener and I believe sent it to like underage girls. And during that investigation, that also led to like Clinton's email server and stuff like that. So it's sort of like Anthony Weiner is like the root cause of how Hillary sort of lost the election, and now we have this cascading effects of us living in this alternate universe. And Huma Abedin used to be the wife of Anthony Weiner. Now she's marrying into the Soros family, which only tells me Huma Abedin is the social climber your daughter needs to be. You have a daughter, if you have kids one day, and they say, Daddy, I want to be rich, buy the Huma Abedin's book, tell them to follow her on Instagram, and learn the tricks of the trade. Because I've never seen a woman be able to suck her way into so many powerful positions. I'm sorry, Huma Abedin. Huma is the best. She is the best. She is the best at social climbing. I've never seen anybody do it like Huma Abedin. And she a baddie too. She a baddie too. I ain't even gonna lie. All right, continuing here. What was I gonna say? It's crazy here because being in Hungary, right? In Hungary, the Soros name is associated with like all the conspiracy theories, right? In America and in the Anglophone world, the Soros people are like considered like the evil boogeyman to the right. You know, anything bad is happening in the world. Black Lives Matter, protesting for human rights and dignity for black people. That's Soros money. You get what I'm saying? Women are outside protesting to actually have control and autonomy over their bodies. That's Soros money doing it. Immigrants flooding over the border because America keeps on killing the presidents of Latin America and tooting up our nose with cocaine, therefore causing the people of Nicaragua and Mexico to flee for their lives. That's Soros money that's paying for the caravans to cross from Mexico. And all of that started here in Hungary, where I'm at. Even still today, here in Hungary, when you're walking outside, if you see a political poster from like a right-wing guy, they'll have Soros somewhere in there, all right? Nelson Moreno says Hungary going broke because of their fertility policies. That's true too, because here in Hungary, if you're a citizen and you have 3 kids, basically the government gives you $30,000 flat. And while that boosted the birth rate for like 1 year, it like tanked to the bottom. I'm not even gonna lie. I know a lot of Hungarians that have a bunch of kids. I know one Hungarian man who has 7 kids. 7 kids. That's crazy. You get what I'm saying? But even still with all that going on, all this Soros, it's all conspiracy theories. I think the right really just hates George Soros because he's one billionaire who didn't just decide to give money to the right. Because if he was giving all this money to right-wing, fascist, neoliberal, conservative, Republicans, whatever, nobody will be giving these conspiracy theories. Nobody says this about the Koch brothers or all the guys we're reading about giving money to Trump. But when it's Soros, it becomes, spooky time. You get what I'm saying? Anyway, continuing here. I'm going to continue reading here. So the Soros family tends to be in the old guard of Democratic big money politics. He is a supporter of a more established-minded group and likes to fund organizations that try to build change over the long term. All right, so here's Miss Harris and former Mayor Mike Bloomberg right here. Mike Bloomberg did not have a chance in hell of winning the presidency. Anyway, so where's Mike is a question that Democrats routinely ask around this time of year. Mr. Bloomberg, the entrepreneur and former mayor of New York City, has had a frosty relationship with Mr. Biden and has not invested as much as he usually does in the 2024 presidential election yet. But he tends to be a very late donor, often funding a final-ditch effort that isn't obvious by summertime. All right. Dustin Moskovitz is also donating to Kamala Harris. Dustin Moskovitz may be the only person on this list who has not yet donated significantly to support Ms. Harris. But Mr. Moskovitz, the biggest donor in the charitable movement known as effective altruism, is widely expected to cut a major check in the closing months of this race to Future Forward, the Democratic group that he seeded with tens of millions of dollars in 2020. Mr. Moskovitz, one of the founders of Facebook, is not well known outside of Silicon Valley, but he has a team of political advisors who wield significant influence in donor circles. Mr. Moskovitz has, in recent months, become one of Silicon Valley's leading anti-Musk voices and expressed alarm about the rightward shift of some in the tech community. All right. Av Cree says, your wife looks like Kamala Harris. I ain't even gonna lie. Low-key kind of a compliment. Low-key kind of a compliment. Because Kamala, 30 years ago, that was a baddie. That was a baddie. Kamala was a baddie. Let's keep it a buck. Smash or pass, Kamala Let's say when she was 25. I'm gonna make this a poll. Y'all gotta be real. We're gonna find out who's gay and who's not in here. We're gonna find out who's gay or not here. Kamala, Kamala at 25. Smash, pass, I'm MAGA, and I love girl cock. Smash, I'm MAGA and I love girl cock. So no. There we go. Here we go. There's the poll. We're gonna find out who's gay in here. Kamala at 25. Let's keep it a buck. Keep it a buck. Keep it a buck. We know if you a real one, if you a real nigga, you know you would do it. Let's keep it absolutely trill in here. We would super smash Kamala, Hulk smash Kamala. We would tear that thing up. Av Cree, I know you're jealous. I'm jealous, Av Cree. I know you're jealous, Av Cree, because the women in India do not look good. You know, Kamala's father took one for the team when he smashed that musty, dirty Indian broad. But he brought us Kamala. Kamala, sorry. Anyway, last donor that we're going to be reading about today, Jeffrey Katzenberg. Jeffrey Katzenberg, the former chairman at Walt Disney Studios, is not as wealthy as the other people on this list, but his influence comes from his access to Ms. Harris's campaign. Mr. Katzenberg, an extraordinary political fundraiser in Hollywood for decades, became one of Mr. Biden's national campaign chairs and has remained in that role with Ms. Harris now leading the tickets. All right, so Nelson Moreno says he likes her daughter, the one with the tattoos that showed her titties walking down a runway. I guess. She tried to get casted in a Gaspar Noé film. She looks like the bitchy barista at Starbucks that purposely misspells your name wrong because you had a complex order. I ain't even gonna lie. Kamala's white family is a bit weird. I ain't even gonna lie. We're not even gonna front. Kamala and Doug's family. Let's take a look. Let's keep it a buck. They're kind of weird looking. Let's talk about them. All right, so here's the Emhoff family. Here's the Emhoff family. Yeah. Hold on, wait. I don't know his daughter's name. What's his daughter's name? All right. Avery says, I'm not voting for that. I'm trying to get Christo and Ave Cree to admit who they really are. You get what I'm saying? Kamala daughter. If this is smash or pass, Kamala's daughter, she's legal, by the way. She's legal. I can't smash a girl with a cow tattoo, bro. What is this? What is this? This? Are you playing with me? How can you take that seriously? You know her armpits stink. Let's keep it a buck. Her armpits probably stink. Let's keep it absolutely trill. No, bro. No. Dog, she looked like McLovin. She looked like McLovin, my guy. No. Nelson, no. What are you doing? Avery says she got the clap. Oh, no. Oh, no. Hey, you show up to your Tinder date and she dressed like this. Hey, who's swiping right on this? No. 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 Anyway, the last story I'm gonna talk about. I didn't even want to talk about this story, but Ave Cree. I'm gonna talk about Ave Cree's people. Here's Ave Cree and his family. So we got Ave Cree and his family. Here's Ave Cree's mama because she got down too bad. You get what I'm saying? And the doctors are trying to resuscitate her, but she swallowed way too much nut. So Ave Cree's mama is just laying here in the hospital dying, which she should. I hope does pass away from swallowing and ingesting too much nut. But let's talk about Ave Cree. Let's talk about Ave Cree. Damn, in India, work to the bone. India's doctors fear for their safety too. Even the doctors get raped in India, Ave Cree. Ave Cree. How do you explain your country, your doctors come home and they get raped? How do you explain that? Ave Cree, explain. Doctors coming home from working a 16-hour shift and then they get jumped on by 4 niggas who's musty as hell ready to fuck them to death. How does that, Ave Cree, explain yourself. Ave Cree, come to the front of the church. The congregation needs to talk to you. Why, Ave Cree, are the doctors getting raped? Ave Cree, my wife is not Indian. She is not Indian. She smells very nice. My wife smells very nice, Ave Cree. She cannot be Indian. She smells like flowers, apples, and pomegranates. Sometimes I smell her underarms. I smell her underarms just to make sure she ain't Indian like you. Ave Cree, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, Ave Cree. Continuing here, my wife smells very good. She cannot be from Punjab land. Anyway, work to the bone is doctors' fear for their safety. Grueling shifts, abuse from the public and subpar security are nothing new to medical workers in India, where Ave Cree is from, where a ghastly killing has put a spotlight on their plights. Let's continue here. Exhausted doctors resting in a crowded on-call rooms with no locks, 2 to a single bed. Frustrated relatives of patients angrily challenging a physician's diagnosis. Too few security guards to keep the peace. These are everyday realities in Indian governmental hospitals. Young doctors describe multi-day shifts and harrowing working conditions in rooms and wards lacking in safety and hygiene, where learning is frequently interrupted by a crushing load of urgent cases. Ave Cree, explain yourself. Ave Cree, it's that bad in your country. It's that bad in your country. The doctors sound like they're going to work in Syria. Sounds like they're going to work in a war zone. Okay, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy, Ave Cree. Explain yourself. It sounds like hell on earth. Ave Cree, explain how you live in hell on earth. Let's continue here. These are everyday realities in Indian government hospitals. Young doctors describe multi-day shifts and harrowing working conditions in rooms and wards often lacking in safety and hygiene, where learning is infrequently interrupted by the crushing load of urgent cases. Their plight has come light in recent weeks after the rape and murder in Kolkata of a 31-year-old junior doctor who had been resting after a grueling 36-hour shift. Last month, the police arrested a man considered a prime suspect in the killing after he was caught on CCTV walking into the hospital late at night. The case has prompted nationwide protests with doctors, students, and human rights activists demanding justice for the victim, as well as better protection and safer workplaces for doctors and women. Many doctors also went on strike. Ave Cree, let's try to find, somebody try to find Ave Cree. Somebody try to find Ave Cree in this picture. All right, let's look at all the musty doctors and the musty doctors who are about to get raped by the horny Indian men. Ave Cree, explain yourself. Explain your people, Ave Cree. You have to talk all this shit about American politics, but you got nothing to say about your musty, dirty, disgusting country. Where you at, Ave Cree? Come on now. People protested because identified with the victim. I'm sorry, let me say it in Indian. People protested because we identified with the victim, said Mr. Susimutta Sengupta, who graduated in 2020 from MGM Medical College and Hospital in Jamshedpur, a large city in the state of Jharkhand, and worked there for a year before moving to private practice. Between the lack of security personnel and the challenges many female doctors face to be heard, any residency in India becomes toxic, Dr. Gupta said. Ave Cree, Ave Cree, Ave Cree. Your men are so horny that they would rather not have doctors than not rape. Ave Cree, in your country, y'all would rather not have doctors than not rape. Come on now. Come on now, Ave Cree. Ave Cree. Come on, let's continue here. So, the brutalized body, Kolkata doctor, was found on August 9th in a seminar room at R.G. Kar Medical College and Hospital, a state-run institution where she was completing a residency. After the attack, India's Supreme Court set up a national task force to recommend workplace safety. The New York Times interviewed more than a dozen Indian doctors within India and abroad, who shared their experiences in the country's state-run hospitals and medical colleges. Many who practice in India spoke only on the condition that their names be withheld, fearing for their safety. Wow. It's like the doctors are on witness protection. All right. So, Christo says, that's why you don't reply to me. You know you're wrong. Your poor wife has to listen to this sickening yapping. My wife is here all the time, and she laughs at all of y'all. She laughs at all of y'all because all of y'all are hilarious. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, continuing here. I was continuing reading about Ave Cree's hellhole that he comes from. Yeah. So, some told of verbal or physical abuse from families of the ill whose patients had been exhausted. Many, having chosen the medical profession with a deep determination to save lives, said their resolve had turned into despair and then resignation as they went through their residencies in an overwhelmed system. Some have left for private practice, others for foreign shores. Dr. Richa Sharma, now an anesthesiologist in West Hartford, Connecticut, went to the United States in 2018 for a residency at Columbia University. Dr. Sharma, who graduated from medical school in Delhi, said she was driven to pursue her training outside India, partly because she was disillusioned with the Indian medical system, and also, they forgot to type this here, she was scared to get raped by horny, musty Indian men like Ave Cree and Simon Hill Keeps It Trill's chat section. All right, that she forgot to mention that. Okay. Anyway. Anyway, continuing here. Even though that system was set up with welfare of patients in mind, it not always functioned that way, Dr. Sharma said. She added that she had worried about losing compassion if she was caring for hundreds of patients a day as if they were objects in a factory and not people. The Kolkata rape and killing galvanized her to bring together a group of U.S.-based alumni of Indian medical colleges to write letters to government offices demanding change. Dr. Sharma said she was in touch with a member of the Supreme Court Task Force to make recommendations based on the group's experiences. Everybody, let's try to find Ave Cree. Everybody, imagine the smell in the room. Imagine the smell in the room. Now, I know my MAGA conservative audience doesn't want immigrants in America. Y'all know that I really don't care about immigration. But if it's Ave Cree's people coming, yeah, let's keep them out. Let's keep America not musty. Let's keep America like Old Spice. Let's keep America smelling like Irish Spring. What is this? Ave Cree, what is this mess? What is this mess? This is how I feel when white supremacists see black people like twerking. They see black people just having fun and say America's now degenerate. I look at this and I say, please don't cross the border. Please do not cross the border. Build the wall. Build the wall. Build the wall. Build the wall. Spray them all with deodorant. Spray them all with deodorant. I'm serious. I'm serious. I am dead ass serious. I'm dead ass serious because I'm sick of these musty foreigners, immigrants, coming into my live stream chat, don't know anything about American politics and then say stupid shit. Meanwhile, their country looks like this. Whole goddamn mess. Whole goddamn mess. India here. Birthplace of civilization, my ass. Continuing here. One India-based junior doctor who did not want to be identified, talking about her employer, said those in her cohorts who protested had to call patients to cancel appointments. I received threatening messages, voice notes, and calls after that from those patients, she said. I now block the patient's number as soon as I make the call to them. State-run hospitals are the main providers of health care for those at the bottom of the economic ladder in India. The public network consists of primary health care centers as well as top research and training institutes. Although there are thousands of private hospitals that typically have better facilities, they tend to be expensive and do not necessarily employ the best doctors. Many young doctors who want to specialize in a certain field of medicine join government-backed medical colleges and teaching hospitals. In recent years, the Indian government has been trying to increase the number of such institutions to train more doctors. Highly trained doctors tend to cluster around cities and in states that have more medical colleges and teaching hospitals, which leaves large areas of rural and small-town India without easy access to health services, especially for complex diseases like cancer, studies have found. Now I gotta keep it real. Nelson Moreno says, Indians think they're cool with the whites. I know, right? How are you gonna side with the whites? And the whites got your country looking like a whole hellhole. But I have to say this. I think it's actually a good thing that in India they have national hospitals that are very cheap. Basically, they have universal health care for everybody. I think we should have the same thing in America too. We need universal health care. The thing is, we have the good Indians in America. When you go to an American hospital, we actually got the good Indians that are our doctors and stuff like that. We don't have these muddy motherfuckers like Ave Cree coming in here, basically shaking your x-ray like a Polaroid picture. You get what I'm saying? We have the good ones. You know, I'm bringing this full circle. You know, Ave Cree is not one of the smartest, but in America, we have the good ones. The Indian we have, by and large, that one also being generally Kamala too. Kamala, see how we brought this all full circle? See how we brought this all full circle? See, we started off live stream talking about Trump and what Trump said about Byron Donalds, basically saying that Trump said Byron Donalds is one of the smart ones. Now here we are talking about Indian doctors. If we did universalize healthcare in America, gave every American universal healthcare, we would have the #1 healthcare system in the world. Why? Because we have the best Indians. We have the good ones. Some other Indians, they're criminals, they're rapists, they're drug dealers. Some, I assume, are good people, but we have the good ones. I just want to make that clear. And Abe Cree is not one of the good ones. I'm going to continue here. All right. City hospitals are left with many more patients than they are equipped to handle. Patients and their relatives already agitated because of a health issue often wait for hours to see a doctor. There was no system to attend to the most serious patients first, said Gunika Seghal, who recently accompanied her father, who suffers from liver dysfunction, to the emergency room at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences in New Delhi as one of the country's top hospitals. Ms. Seghal said they were attended to within 2 hours only because her family pulled some strings. I don't know how much we would have waited if not for that connection, she said. All right, the combination of overwhelmed doctors and irate patients can create a tinderbox. While resident doctors around the world often work long shifts since part of their training involves admitting patients and tracking journey, the burden is heavier in India's under-resourced system. The frequency with which many resident physicians in India do demanding shifts wears them down, doctors said. The sheer number of patients makes it incredibly tough, said Dr. Durabajyoti Bandpakia, a cardiologist. Dr. Bandio worked at several state-run hospitals in India, including R.G. Kar, the hospital where the Kolkata doctor was raped and killed, before joining Massachusetts General Hospital, Harvard University's largest teaching hospital. People from villages and slums come to the hospital. So in a day, in an OPD, we used to see 400 patients, which is not possible for 2 or 3 people, he said, referring to the outpatient department. Once during the residency, Dr. Bandio administered CPR to an 80-year-old man in an emergency room after his pulse stopped, but he was unable to save him. The patient's relatives then started accusing him of killing the man by pumping his chest for half an hour. Dr. Bandio said, and refused a post-mortem done. All of a sudden, 50-plus people gathered and started shouting and verbally abusing us. There was no one to protect us. Reflecting on the episode, Dr. Bandio later said in a WhatsApp message that emotion and impunity, that nothing will happen if you abuse a doctor. We're behind violent behavior toward health workers. Oh God. That's insane. Imagine being a doctor and 50 wild Indians burst into the emergency room. That's insane. And what's happening in India? I'm going to finish up this live stream stone. Last few paragraphs, let's go. Dr. Aditya Yadurjan recalled an episode during his residency when a patient with acid burns on his face demanded that a consultant doctor do more to fix the damage. When the doctor was able to do more, the patient walked around the hospital with a bottle of acid, threatening other doctors that he would make everyone look like him, Dr. Yadav said. Okay, even doctors in private hospitals can be subject to patient abuse, and many keep guards on hand. Over the last few years, I have heard so many incidents of family members of patients beating doctors that I have lost count of it. What's happening in India? Y'all are beating up doctors, threatening to pour acid on doctors. This is the ghetto. They have a ghetto culture. And anybody who says differently has a victim mentality. Ozzy says, India is a hot damn mess. Yes, it is. It's the goddamn ghetto. It's the Indians are ghetto. They're criminals. They're lazy. Some, I assume, are good people. But we need to build the wall to make sure they don't come into America. Because we have the good Indians already. We don't need any more in our country. Continue here. Anyway, I'm going to continue here. So, over the last few years, I have seen and heard so many incidents of family members of patients beating doctors that I have lost count, said Dr. Shobaros Tatre, an associate professor at Shantos Medical College, a private hospital in Ghaziabad, near Delhi. Male colleagues have been beaten blue and black. Female friends have been threatened. Some have thoughts of even friends finding jobs outside the country. Dr. Sharma, the anesthesiologist who was trying to draw attention to the working conditions of her counterparts in India, reflected on the contrast between how doctors are viewed and treated. They are either seen as superhuman or not human at all. Okay, either way, no plans to go to India anytime soon. But Abe Cree, I hope you're happy. We covered a story from your shitty ass country, and join us next time for our live stream. Sorry I went overtime, guys. I'm only trying to do 60 minutes. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Shout out to Ozzy. Shout out to Nelson Moreno. Shout out to Avery. Shout out to Christo. Shout out to, whoever else was in here. Nelson Moreno was flexing some real power in here.